Okay, so we've made it through the trials and tribulations of sewing a pocket, and now it's time to sew in a zipper. Just what you needed, a little casual zipper break. But luckily we've already done this kind of zipper, because this is the return of the lap zipper, which is my favorite, and I'm sure it's your favorite too. So to start out with, we need both of our front pieces, and we're going to start here at the serger, because we want to serge this front crotch seam before we do anything else to finish off the edge. So we're just doing this J-shaped curve part. So the crotch of our shorts needs to be serged now, or we can't do it later because there will be a whole zipper in the way. So just bring your piece to the serger. We're not trying to serge any fabric off, we're just gonna follow this curve. Whoop. Notice I'm kind of guiding it with my fingers to make it hit that curve just fine. And I'm gonna clip it off, and as always, trim my tails. And I'm going to repeat that on the next piece, but I'm not going to show you that. It's the exact same thing. So then we'll be heading over to pin some stuff and then sew it. For our next step, now that we've got our crotch seam serged, is we need to locate some notches. So we've got a notch there and a notch there on the scheme of our shorts. And what we want to do is we just want to sew between those two notches specifically. So I'm going to match those up between my two pieces, pin just that area, and sew just that area. And the reasoning for this is, one, we don't want to sew up the area where our zipper is going to go because this is not that kind of zipper. If it was a centered zipper, we might do some stitching and basting it all closed to begin with, but it's a lap zipper, so we don't have to do that. Not on this one, not this time. And we want to leave the bottom of it open where there is no zipper, because if we close it up right now, we're going to have a really hard time sewing the inseam later on. So this is a kind of a trust the process sort of pair of shorts. Honestly, every step of the way, I'm like, just believe in yourself, and the shorts will happen. I know that I'm believing in myself right now, making these videos for you. So I can hope that we will be able to do the same for you. So I've pinned notch to notch. It's like literally a 2-inch area out of the whole shorts, and now I'm gonna go sew just that area. Over at my sewing machine, it's time to sew those all-important 2 inches of crotch seam that we have pinned. So I'm going to line up my sewing machine with that first notch, which is conveniently marked by this green-headed pin, make it easier to see on the video. And I'm going to bring my needle down, remove the pin, stitch forward, back stitch, and then sew the rest of it. And I'm sewing with my normal 2.5 stitch width. No zigzag, so wow, this pin is really bent. I'm gonna show you guys because I think it's worth, look at how bent this thing is, man. Who hurt this pin? Me, because it's mine. Sometimes you gotta ask, who hurt you? And the answer is me. I hurt you, whoops. But anyway, I stitched that, back stitched, and this is what I want it to look like, and I'm ready for my next step. Okie dokie, so now we're going to take our shorts and we're going to press open that little seam that we just sewed. I know it's a teeny tiny little bit of seam, but we do need it open in order to put our zipper in. And we're also going to want to clip away any lingering threads that we've got, make sure it's all nice and clean, so that nothing catches in our zipper when we're trying to sew it. So trim everything down. That one wasn't even attached. That was an unaffiliated thread that just existed here. Okay. So I've pressed it the first way. I'm going to flip it open. And you'll notice I'm doing this all on a sewing ham, or a pressing ham. That is because this is a curved seam. We're in a curved area. And so, as you can see, it's kind of hard to get it to lay flat. So the ham helps with that. I'm going to flip my ham up. I'm going to find an area on there that I can get my seam to lay relatively flat. And then I'm going to use the tip of my iron, little nose part, to get in there and iron just the area I'm looking for. Because you don't have to just like set the whole iron down and iron the whole area. We're trying to do some targeted pressing right now. Ooh, trying to break ceramics, I guess. Things that are on this table off screen. And I'm going to flip it and do that again on the outside. And actually, I can see it's doing pretty well right here on the ham, so I'm just gonna, there we go, give it a quick press. Okie dokie dokie. And now it is time for some real more ironing. Yep, I made it sound like we're done with ironing, but it's time for the ironing sleeve board. My fake ironing table in my apartment. So we've got our shorts piece. We've got our two fronts. We've got that little part we stitched in the bottom. And so we're dealing with the front right now. And you're going to need to take a moment. I'm going to zoom out. You're going to need to take a moment to think about what is the right side and the left side of your shorts. So picture them on your body. And if you imagine them on your body, I can see that this right here is my right side. So literally all I would say to do is just like flip it around, hold it up to you with the wrong side facing your body, and figure out what is going to be the side that goes on the right part of your body. It's hard to say it's the right side when we call something else the right side for the most part. So your right body side. On the right body side of your shorts, you want to find your convenient handy-dandy thread tracing line that we made earlier, which I said was going to come back to help us, and it is now. It is our special weapon, and we're going to... our special tool. It's not a weapon, we're not hurting anybody with it. We're going to press... Come on. So sorry. We're going to press on our special little seam line, our hand thread tracing line. We're pressing it right so that that line is on the fold. Just right on the edge of the fold, which is not what we're doing on the next one. So on the right side, this is what you do. And if you remember, on a lap zipper, sometimes the sides are different because one side has an overlap and one side has an underlap. So this right side that we're doing right now will be our over-the-top side, and now it is time to do our left side. If I can set everything down without dropping the iron on my foot, which would be cool. So we've got our right side pressed on the seam line. You can see my hand thread tracing exists right in the fold. Here we go, like that. On our next one, we want to press our fold so that it is 1/8 of an inch away from our hand thread tracing line. So you can see right where it's sitting right now when I'm holding it, that's about where we want it to go. And you can get your ruler out and measure 1/8 of an inch. I can pretty successfully eyeball it at this point in my sewing career. But if that is a daunting prospect to you of trying to just think about what 1/8 of an inch is, get a ruler out. It's easy. We've got rulers. We invented those. Humans are super cool because we invent things and then people can use them. So I've got there we go. My left side is pressed with the thread tracing line 1/8 of an inch away from the fold. My right side is pressed with it directly on the fold. And so now it is officially zipper time. It's zipper time. So what you need now is you need your zipper. If it's in any packaging, please take it out of the packaging. We are going to be using for this project either an 8-inch zipper or a 7-inch zipper. Either one will work just fine. The only difference is going to be how much of the bottom of your zipper is below this point. So in my video, I'm using a 7-inch zipper, but the principles still apply no matter what size zipper you're using. So we're going to start out by placing our zipper underneath our fabric. And we're starting out doing our left side, which is the side with the 1/8 of an inch away pressing for the thread tracing. So first I want to position my zipper. And when you're placing a zipper, you want the bottom to be at least 3/4 to 5/8 of an inch below the point where your seam stops. So this is the zipper stop end, and I want it to be down beneath my end of my seam. I also want to check right now and see where the top of my zipper is going to hit, because I want my zipper stop to hit at the end of where my thread tracing stops, because that is the end of my seam. So this is where I want it now. I've got it in the right spot. And you'll notice the little zipper tapes reach all the way up to the top of my fabric. They will be hidden in the seam allowance and by the waistband. So that is the goal. What I'm going to do now that I've got my first pin positioning where the whole thing is going to sit is I want to pin my fabric, the folded edge of my fabric, to be as close to the zipper teeth as possible. So I will bring this, I will kick the tripod. I will bring this closer to the camera so you can see what I'm doing. I am pinning my zipper as close to the zipper teeth as I can get. And we want to make sure that we're consistent across. It's nice and easy, nice and even. I like lap zippers. It's just like what we did our lap zipper sample. That's what this is it's that, but on something. We're applying the concept we learned earlier in the semester, which is the point. The point of going to school is to learn and apply concepts. Okay, so I've got my left body side of my zipper pinned in, and I'm also going to make double sure that my seam is lying open right on top of where the zipper is, and I'm probably going to stick a pin down here at the bottom just to really hold everything in place, make sure that it's going to lie nice, straight, parallel, even, lined up, all the good words when I go to sew it. So once you've got yours pinned, we're ready to stitch the left side of your zipper. Time to stitch the first side of our zipper, and as you may remember, the first step to sewing a zipper on the machine, well, the first step of actually like sewing it, not of sewing a zipper period, is to switch to our zipper foot. So it is the one that has a narrow center part with two little gaps on either side that allows us to stitch really close to our zipper teeth. And then you'll want to make sure to move your needle to whichever side is going to get it closer. So I'm putting mine to the right because I will be sewing on the right, yep, there we go, the right side. So you can kind of see that my zipper foot is pushing all of the area right next to the zipper teeth. That is the goal. And so starting just below my opening, I am going to stitch this side. I'm going to make sure to back stitch. And when I get up to my zipper pull, what I'm going to do is I'm putting my needle down to make sure nothing moves, and then I'm going to pull the tab of it. Whoop, if I can get it. Pull the tab of it to get it out of the way. There we go. I just want it behind somewhere. It doesn't matter how far back you go, so long as it's out of your way. And then I'm going to continue sewing until I reach the very end of the zipper tape. And then I will backstitch and sew right off the edge. So now my first side of my zipper has been stitched. Now it's time for the second side. We've got one half of our zipper put in, so now it is time to sew the overlap. We've got the bottom part, it's ready for the lap part. So what we want to do now is we want to take our two thread tracing lines. I've got my right one, which is right on my edge, and then this the left one, which I can still see right next to where the zipper was just stitched. It's actually like right on my stitch line. And I want to match them up. I want those two lines to match up with each other. And I'm going to place a couple of pins to secure that match up point. Because this is how we know that our zipper will be nicely concealed within the lap. Oftentimes on pants, you will see this being done with a fly zipper attachment style, and that is something you will learn in a future sewing class if you are continuing here at Kent State on the sewing track. And it's not taught by me. That one is not on me. I don't have to show you how to make a fly zipper. That is above my pay grade. So now I've got the two thread tracing lines meeting up. I also want to place some pins to show myself where the zipper tape is, because I'm going to want to stitch. We're going to be stitching about a 1/2 inch over, but I just like to know for security that I'm getting everything. And you'll notice I'm putting these pins so that I can pull them out when sewing from the bottom up, because that is what I will be doing. Okay, and now I'm ready to go sew the second half. I'm ready to sew my second half of my zipper on, and so what I've got is I have set up my zipper to be stitched on starting at the bottom. So the opening is up here, the bottom is down here, and this is where I want to start sewing. And you'll notice I'm doing like the bottom across part, and then I'm going to pivot and go back up. So I want to start out by sewing right across the end of the zipper to sort of reinforce things. You might have to be a little careful guiding this at this point. And then once you're about a 1/2 inch past your existing seam line, you're going to pivot. You're going to make sure that everything is laying really flat. There's no strange extra layers underneath getting caught. Then you're going to put your presser foot down and sew the second side. Ooh. And once I reach the point where my zipper stop is going to be in the way, I'm going to unpin this, needle down, foot up, move the zipper stop out of the way. I'm going to try to do this in a way that you can see. Just doing the exact same thing I did before, pulling it back, closing this up, and then I'm going to resume stitching, because if I were to just keep going with the zipper stop in the way, it will create, either my needle will hit it and it will break, or it will create a, like a little bump line where my needle had to go around it, and I don't want that. I want a nice straight line like this. My last zipper step is just giving it a quick iron from the top. That's making sure that our fold is reinforced and crisp. Yeah. And there you have it. We have got a lapped zipper in our shorts. So now we can zip them up and unzip them. Granted, right now they're still missing their back, so we're still a ways from done, but we have accomplished the zipper step, which is so exciting.